Hello, my friends. Sabrina Barella here with Your Freedom Track. Welcome to episode 27 of Ask the Founder. Today, the question comes from Desiree, and Desiree says, what do you do to recharge when you're feeling drained? That's a great question to ask, Desiree, because especially as an entrepreneur, when you're working for yourself, and especially in the beginning, you're doing everything yourself, and it can get overwhelming. It can be long hours. It can be frustrating as you're going through the learning curve, and all that stuff can drain you. So in order to be the best version of yourself, because when you're drained and you're at your wits edge of everything, you're not doing the best work. You're not in the creative space. So I'm constantly working on, number one, balancing my time in the business with taking care of myself. And also, how do I bring myself back when I've kind of let myself go over the cliff of just being drained and being done. And I've done that when pushing deadlines, when trying to just get one more thing done, and then I look at the clock and it's 12:30, in the middle of the night, and I'm normally in bed by, I would say, 9 or 10 o'clock because I'm an early riser. So I'm pushing myself. And what happens when I do that? Well, then the next day, if I wake up at my usual time, then I'm exhausted the next day because I haven't gotten enough sleep. So there's two different things that I'm going to talk about in this question, which is probably going to be a little more than what you asked for, but I think it's important to talk about. Number one, when I'm feeling drained, or at the end of the day, when I've had a tough day, I always make sure that I have some sort of ritual that separates the turning off the computer and closing out work for the day, and then being, the Sabrina, being home Sabrina and the feminine Sabrina, and I can be open to a call with my friends or cooking dinner. I do enjoy cooking. I like the hands-on, the physical. So I enjoy doing cooking. I also enjoy doing dishes, believe it or not. I like the things working with my hands. I take a lot more bubble baths now than I ever did because I have the time in the evening. And I often I will take a bath with a glass of wine and then whatever book I happen to be reading. And it's a good time to get a good chapter of a book. It could be 30, 45 minutes that I get to lay in there, maybe add some sea salt or some lavender, something to reduce inflammation, to help you relax. And then at the same time, I've got my wine and I've got my book, and I get to decompress. I'm not at the computer anymore. I'm going to out myself here. When people ask me if I sing, I usually say, well, yeah, I sing in the shower or in the car. I sing all the time at my house too. My poor neighbors, or maybe my lucky neighbors, I don't know. But I turn on music and I dance. I dance in the living room. I'm dancing all over the house. I'm doing my housework. Because what it has to do, music, you're feeling it in your body. So I'm dancing. I'm moving myself around, and what that's also doing is that's breaking up the tension. If we're on the computer and we're not taking that time to back off and relax and peel away from it, our bodies can become set in this posture, and I don't ever want to be that. So I'm doing my exercise and all this stuff, dancing around the house, singing around the house. And I mentioned phone calls. So a lot of times too, the evenings will be phone calls to catch up with a friend who I haven't talked to in a while. My mom, my grandma, whoever, but just catching up and having that connecting with somebody at the end of the day. And then on the other side, the other thing that I wanted to bring up is all the things that I mentioned, those all lead to setting myself up to be in the best shape possible. Because one thing that I'm always looking at, in a question that I was taught a long time ago from a mentor in another realm, was to ask myself ahead of time. So when I'm looking to eat something, or when I'm looking at what I want to wear for the day or what I want to do for the day, is looking would my future self be happy with this? So what would my future self be happy to have eaten? What would my future self be happy to have worn today? What would they be happy to have done today, to have accomplished? And I'm always looking at that in terms of that, so that there's no regrets. Another key to success, and I think even setting yourself up to try and avoid some of the drain at the end of the day or at certain periods, is to have a morning routine. I've always been an early riser for the most part, maybe except for like the 18 to 22 when I was going out a lot late in the night. A little more about me you didn't know, or maybe you did. But I've always been an early riser. I'm up between 5, 6 at the latest in the morning, typically between 5 and 5:30, and I have a meditation CD that I listen to, and I do yoga. I do some cardio and crunches. I hang upside down on my elliptical, the thing that hangs you upside down. I do that for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I make my coffee, and when I have my coffee, I write out my intentions for the day. I write out not just my intentions of what I'm going to get done for the day, but I write out who and what I want to be. So what qualities am I going to source? Am I going to bring clarity? Am I going to bring empowerment? Laughter, happiness, freedom. Freedom is on my list every single day because that's one of the things I'm about. All my highest qualities are on there every single day. Happiness, freedom, love, passion, empowerment, grace, and abundance, and gosh, I'm trying to think other things that are on there, but I'm intentional. I'm intentional about who I want to be, and what I want to source as I'm going throughout my day. And the other thing too that I would say, gosh, this video could go on forever, is to have, I have my list set out. At the end of every day, I write my list for the next day. So rather than waking up in the morning and trying to remember, okay, where did I leave off yesterday? I know exactly where I'm leaving off in the moment at the end of the day. So I know exactly where I need to pick up. So I have my list for the day. And at the beginning of every week, I have, an overview of what I want to get done for the week. And the same thing for the month. And I do that for the year. I have goals that I have and I set them out. And then I check in from time to time and I make sure, where am I at? What do I need to do? And just the process of scheduling and planning and checking in on those things helps me to stay focused on the tasks at hand, so I'm not exhausting myself in the wrong areas. So I hope that helps. I hope that some or all of that gives you some tips on what to look at and possibly bring into your own life. If you have any further questions for me or anyone else out there, please send me an email, send me comments and questions through my website, www.yourfreedomtrack.com. I am Sabrina Barella. I am here to help.